In this video, I'm going to be going over the beautiful artwork found in Anton Koberger Bibles, and you'll want to watch the full video because I'm going to show you 3 different items with each one getting older, rarer, and more valuable as I go along. Before I show you what exactly these items are, I want to provide some background to who this man Anton Koberger is, or terms like incunabula mean. And so Anton Koberger was one of the most influential printers and publishers of the incunabula era and is one of my personal favorite incunabula printers. Now that word incunabula, if you haven't seen my other videos or you're new to the channel, it's simply a Latin term meaning in the cradle or infancy, so referring to the infancy stages of the printing era, so those first 50 years, give or take. Now in the early years of book production, printing presses, of course, were just starting to come about. And so Koberger, who was based in Nuremberg, Germany, was instrumental in transforming the city into a hub of book production and printing. This really impacted the European trade, producing monumental works that shaped the intellectual and religious culture of Koberger's time. So really an important figure in the early printing era of printing history. Now, rather than showing you the earliest Koberger Bible I have and working to his later works, we're going to start with his later works and go backwards because that's how they typically are more valuable. So first up, I have this very nice Bible leaf here. This is a 1485 Koberger leaf. This is printed in the Latin language. The surrounding text is commentary to this smaller inner block, which is the actual scripture. This comes from the book of Ezekiel and is really just an amazing passage. But what I love about this particular leaf is these really intricate and nice woodcut image here. Has these 2 different images next to each other, and this is a medieval depiction of what the temple looked like that was being described in the book of Ezekiel. So really just an amazing work. The artwork, the detail that goes into that is absolutely astounding. If you don't know what a wood block is, it's basically a wooden block that was etched in an image, such as the one that's on this particular leaf. They would then roll ink on that, lay the paper onto it, press it down, and you'd have an image like this. An amazing piece of history. Koberger began his career as a goldsmith, but by 1470 he had abandoned goldsmithing and established his printing press in Nuremberg. Now his timing was impeccable because printing was still fairly new. It was a newer technology and the demand for books and reading material was skyrocketing. It was something that was becoming far more desirable for people, and so the need for printers was continuing to grow. Koberger's press quickly became one of the largest in Europe. By the late 15th century, he owned 24 printing presses and employed over 100 craftsmen, including typesetters, illustrators, and binders. This scale of operation was virtually unheard of at the time, which allowed Koberger to really produce a lot of amazing Bibles like the ones I'm going to show you and the one I just showed you, i.e. that 1485 leaf. But this was really an amazing piece of history. Now the next item I have here is a little bit older, not too much older, but is a much bigger Bible. This is a 1483 German Bible. This is Koberger's first edition German Bible ever printed, and it's really a monumental and amazing work. The passage that is found on this particular leaf is from 1 Kings chapter 15, and this beautiful woodcut image here is a great depiction of the victory of King Abijah that he had over Jeroboam after their battle. So it's really an amazing piece of history. The artwork is just absolutely stunning, something I love. I do have another one like this in my collection. It's actually in my display case back there. You can see it up on the screen there. And it's just another beautiful Bible, also a 1483. Again, this is Koberger's first edition German Bible, and it's just a beautiful piece of history. Most Bibles at this point were printed in Latin, so having a German one was far rarer, and it makes them a lot more valuable. A leaf like this one and this one go for around $500, give or take, per leaf. So really desirable, really valuable leaves. Now Koberger's most famous publication was the Nuremberg Chronicle, printed in 1493. The Chronicle was revolutionary in many ways, but one major way was the beautiful artwork depicting various scenes. And this Bible here, that it was printed 10 years before the Nuremberg Chronicle, makes me wonder if there was some kind of influence that this particular Bible had on the Nuremberg Chronicle, because there's a lot of similarities. When you look at the artwork, the colors, the images, the type of text and everything looks very similar to the Nuremberg Chronicles, making me think that there was some kind of influence. Of course, they were both produced under the watchful care of Koberger, so really just an amazing piece of history, very likely the case, but I don't know that for sure. However, this Bible was the first printed Bible in German. So again, an amazing and rare leaf. Now the last leaf I have is hard for me to determine whether I like this last one more than the one I just showed you. Because this is his earliest printed work, or at least Bible, and it's a much larger leaf. This is a beautiful and stunning 1475 Koberger first edition Latin Bible. This was printed on November 16th, 1475, making it a very old leaf. Bibles that predate 1479 are a lot rarer and more difficult to find, so having this 1475 is really an amazing printed Bible to have, although it's generally the more affordable that you can get. Anything earlier than 1475 is extremely difficult to come by, and if you do find them, they're very, very valuable. But this particular leaf here was something that really stuck out to me, particularly because of these two hand-painted initials here. This is from the Gospel of John, this leaf. It actually ends the book of Luke and opens up to John, so you got the prologue to John here with this initial, and then the first chapter, first verse of the Gospel of John with this initial. Now what's different from this Bible over this printed one here is that this is a woodcut image. This means that it was put into a wooden block and then somebody colored it in after the fact. Whereas this one would have been printed with these blank spaces for these initials to be put in. Some artists would then go through the Bible and hand paint each individual initial. So it's very intricate, and arguably more work went into this because it required a lot more skill set to paint particular initials like that. So it's really an amazing piece. I absolutely love having this in my collection. I have had two other leaves from a 1475 Bible in my collection, but those were just simple leaves looking much like the back here. And so when I saw the ones with these initials on there, I just had to have it. I've been collecting for many years now, and I've never seen a leaf, aside from the one I bought here, come on the market. So when I saw it, I had to have it. Now, Koberger wasn't just a printer, he was a visionary businessman. He printed more than 200 editions during his lifetime, including Bibles, theological works, and humanist texts. His Bibles, particularly his richly illustrated editions, became highly sought after and set the standard for future publications. And this particular leaf that I have here is no exception to that. It is a great example, a very early example of Koberger work, and has that beautiful artwork on it. So those are just three examples of incunabula Bibles I have that have that beautiful and stunning artwork on it. I appreciate you guys watching the full videos. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Check out the other videos I have. I cover a wide range of topics revolving around the Bible. So you'll want to watch that. Of course, check out the YouTube Shorts where I upload those every other day and talk about different Bible stories and tie them into the item that I have in its historical context. So really interesting videos there. Of course, check out those close-up shots, and I'll see you guys in the next video.